The secret most cat owners never notice. Most people believe they understand their cat. They think affection is easy to recognize. A cat rubs against your legs, asks for food, curls up somewhere nearby, and life moves on like normal. But feline behavior specialists explain that cats rarely communicate their deepest emotions in obvious ways. In fact, the strongest signs of love are usually the quietest ones. They happen in silence, in routine, in tiny moments that most owners completely ignore without realizing something emotional is unfolding right in front of them. And this is where everything becomes fascinating. Because your cat may already be trying to tell you, every single day, that you are the person it trusts more than anyone else in the world. Researchers who study feline psychology observed that cats build emotional attachment differently from most domestic animals. Dogs often seek attention openly. Cats do the opposite. They protect their emotions behind caution, observation, and control. A cat survives by staying alert, by watching carefully, by never becoming fully vulnerable in the wrong environment. That instinct exists deep inside them, even in the safest homes. Which means something extraordinary happens when a cat finally decides to lower those defenses around a human being. Most people never notice the exact moment this change begins. They miss the subtle signals completely. The slow blinking, the silent following, the relaxed breathing, the way the cat suddenly chooses to stay close without asking for anything in return. These behaviors may seem small, but animal behavior experts explain that for cats, emotional trust is expressed through vulnerability more than attention. That completely changes the way you should look at your cat, because a cat does not expose vulnerability carelessly. Scientists who observed feline social bonding discovered that cats constantly evaluate safety, energy, predictability, and emotional comfort inside their environment. They remember who makes them feel calm. They notice who respects their space. They silently study human behavior every single day. And once a cat emotionally chooses someone, its actions begin to change in ways that are incredibly subtle but deeply meaningful. The strange part is that many owners mistake these signs for random habits. They think the cat is simply being weird. But there are two specific behaviors that cats almost never do unless genuine emotional attachment exists. Two behaviors so instinctively vulnerable that most cats reserve them only for the people they trust at the deepest level possible. And one of them happens during the exact moment a cat should be the most cautious, moment when instinct normally tells them to stay awake, guarded, and ready to escape danger immediately. Yet around certain people, they choose to completely let go of that fear. And the second behavior is even more surprising because many people become uncomfortable when it happens, without realizing they are witnessing one of the purest forms of feline love. After you understand these two signs, you will never look at your cat the same way again. The first thing, when your cat chooses to expose its most vulnerable moment, there is one moment in a cat's life when instinct becomes stronger than affection, curiosity, or comfort. A moment when survival takes control completely: sleep. Most people see a sleeping cat and think only one thing: relaxation. But feline behavior specialists explain that sleep is one of the most vulnerable states a cat can experience. In the wild, a cat that sleeps too deeply in the wrong place becomes an easy target. That instinct never fully disappears, even inside a safe home. Deep inside their nervous system, cats are still programmed to remain alert, cautious, and prepared to react within seconds. That is why many cats spend their lives sleeping lightly, one ear moving constantly, eyes half-open, muscles partially tense. Even while resting, part of their body remains ready to wake up instantly. But something remarkable happens when a cat truly loves and trusts someone. They begin to surrender that vigilance. Researchers who study feline attachment observed that cats only enter their deepest states of physical relaxation when they feel emotionally secure in their environment. And more importantly, when they feel emotionally secure around a specific person. That changes the meaning of certain behaviors completely. When your cat sleeps beside you with its paws loose and relaxed, that is not laziness. When its breathing becomes slow and deep near your body, that is not random comfort. When your cat turns its back toward you, exposes its stomach, stretches fully, or falls asleep without reacting to every small sound. Your cat is revealing something extremely rare: trust, complete emotional trust, because cats do not expose their vulnerable areas carelessly. Animal behavior experts explain that the stomach, chest, and throat are instinctively protected regions. A cat only relaxes these areas when fear disappears from the environment, and fear disappears only when safety feels absolute. That is why some cats sleep differently depending on who is in the room. You may notice your cat sleeping lightly around strangers, but collapsing into deep relaxation near you. Sometimes they even press their body against your leg, your chest, or your feet without needing warmth at all. Specialists explain that this physical closeness often becomes a silent emotional anchor. Your presence itself becomes part of the cat's sense of protection. And most owners never realize how powerful this really is. Because your cat is not simply choosing a comfortable place to sleep. Your cat is choosing where it feels safest, becoming defenseless. Scientists who observed bonded cats noticed another fascinating detail. Deeply attached cats often synchronize their rest with the emotional rhythm of the person they trust most. They calm down when that person is calm. They settle when that person settles. They remain nearby even without interaction because emotional safety itself becomes comforting. This is why some cats quietly enter the room just to sleep beside one specific person while ignoring everyone else in the house. Not because they need attention, because they feel protected there. And there is another small detail most people overlook completely. A cat that truly trusts you often stops monitoring you while resting. It no longer keeps checking your movements constantly. It no longer feels the need to stay partially alert around you. That level of emotional surrender is incredibly rare in feline behavior. But there is another behavior even more intimate than this one. A behavior many people misunderstand completely because it happens during the most private moments of human life. And once you understand why cats do this, you may realize your cat has been emotionally attached to you far more deeply than you ever imagined. The second thing, when your cat follows you in the most private moments, few things confuse cat owners more than this behavior. You stand up for a few seconds, walk toward another room, and suddenly your cat appears behind you without making a sound. Sometimes it waits outside the bathroom door. Sometimes it quietly enters the room and simply sits there watching. Other times it follows you late at night through the hallway only to remain nearby in complete silence, as if your presence alone matters more than anything else happening around it. Most people laugh about this behavior. Some think it is clean. Others assume the cat is just curious or expecting food. But feline behavior specialists explain that something much deeper is often happening emotionally. Cats do not follow people randomly. Researchers who study feline social bonding observed that cats tend to monitor the movements of individuals they feel emotionally connected to, not out of dependence, but out of attachment and environmental awareness. In the feline mind, emotional connection and territorial connection slowly become linked together. The people they trust most become part of what feels safe, predictable, and emotionally important inside their world. That is why your cat may follow you into the quietest and most private parts of your routine. Not because the room itself matters, because you matter. Animal behavior experts explain that cats naturally observe patterns and routines to understand emotional stability. They memorize sounds, footsteps, schedules, moods, and behaviors with astonishing precision. Over time, deeply bonded cats begin treating certain humans almost like emotional reference points inside the home. They want to know where that person is, what they are doing, and whether everything feels normal. This explains something many owners secretly notice but rarely talk about. The cat that ignores everyone else may suddenly follow one specific person everywhere. Not aggressively, not desperately, silently. And that silence is important. Unlike animals that constantly demand interaction, cats often express attachment simply by remaining present. A cat sitting quietly near the bathroom door may look insignificant to humans, but specialists explain that this behavior can reflect emotional monitoring and social bonding. Your cat feels calmer knowing where you are. Some cats even develop tiny rituals around this attachment. Waiting outside the shower every day, sleeping near the bedroom entrance at night, walking beside you through the house without wanting to be touched. Entering a room only after you enter first? These small actions may seem meaningless individually, but together they reveal something powerful. Your cat has emotionally included you inside its sense of security. Researchers observed that bonded cats often maintain visual or physical proximity without direct interaction because closeness itself becomes emotionally regulating. In simple terms, your presence helps the cat feel balanced and safe. And there is another fascinating detail. Cats are extremely selective about this behavior. They may tolerate many people. They may accept affection from several humans. But the instinct to quietly monitor and follow usually appears strongest toward the person they trust emotionally the most. That is why some cats only do this with one person in the entire house. And the strange part is that many humans accidentally reject this behavior because they misunderstand it completely. They close the door, they push the cat away, they assume the animal is simply being annoying. Without realizing, the cat may actually be expressing one of the deepest forms of attachment it knows how to give. Because when a cat chooses to stay close during the ordinary moments of your life, during the silent moments nobody else sees, it is revealing something profound. You are no longer just another living creature sharing the house. You have become part of the cat's emotional territory. And once that bond forms, the way cats experience love becomes very different from what most people expect from affection. Why cats hide love differently than other animals? One of the biggest reasons people misunderstand cats is because they expect feline love to look like every other kind of love they already know. They expect excitement, noise, constant attention, obvious emotional reactions. But cats were never built to communicate attachment that way. Researchers who study animal behavior explain that cats evolved as highly independent hunters. Survival depended on caution, emotional control, and environmental awareness. Unlike animals that naturally rely on group reassurance, cats learned to protect themselves through observation and restraint. That instinct still shapes the way they form emotional bonds today, which means a cat's version of love often looks invisible to people who do not understand feline behavior. A dog may run toward you to feel emotionally secure. A cat feels emotionally secure first, and only then decides to lower its defenses around you. That difference changes everything. Because, for cats, affection is not built on emotional dependence. It is built on trust. Animal behavior specialists often explain that cats show love through permission more than performance. They allow someone into their personal space. They allow vulnerability. They allow emotional access little by little over time. Every quiet behavior becomes meaningful because cats do not give emotional trust quickly or carelessly. That is why a cat sleeping peacefully beside you can mean more emotionally than loud affection from another animal. The cat is not trying to entertain you. The cat is choosing not to fear you. And in feline psychology, that is enormous. Scientists who observed bonded cats noticed something fascinating. Cats tend to reduce defensive behaviors around humans they deeply trust. Their muscles relax faster, their startle responses decrease, their grooming becomes calmer. Some even expose vulnerable body positions they would normally avoid in uncertain environments. In simple terms, love changes the cat's nervous system. And this is where many people fail to recognize how deep feline attachment can truly become. Because cats rarely advertise their emotions openly. Instead, they hide love inside ordinary moments. Inside the slow blink from across the room, inside the quiet decision to sleep near your feet, inside the way they remain nearby without demanding anything, inside the way they follow your routine silently every single day. To someone unfamiliar with cats, these actions may seem emotionally small. But specialists explain that emotionally secure cats often prefer calm presence over exaggerated interaction. Their love is less about intensity and more about trust, predictability, and emotional safety. That is why some of the strongest feline bonds look almost invisible from the outside. And yet, to the cat, those quiet moments mean everything. There is also another emotional truth most people never consider. Cats are constantly studying human emotional energy. Researchers observed that cats become more relaxed around predictable voices, calmer movements, and emotionally stable behavior. Over time, they begin associating certain humans with peace itself. the person becomes more than a caretaker. They become part of the cat's internal sense of stability and safety. This is why stressed or emotionally tense environments often change feline behavior dramatically. And it is also why deeply loved humans often notice their cat seeking them out during quiet moments instead of chaotic ones. Because cats do not search for attention the way many people imagine. They search for emotional safety. And once a cat connects your presence with safety, comfort, and calm, its behaviors begin revealing a kind of silent loyalty that many people never recognize until it is explained to them. But there is one final detail about feline love that changes the meaning of everything you have seen so far. A detail that explains why some cats may care about many people, yet reserve their deepest emotional bond for only one detail that changes everything. Most people believe cats love everyone in the house equally. If the cat accepts food from multiple people, allows affection from different family members, or spends time in several rooms throughout the home, it seems natural to assume the emotional connection is the same with everyone. But feline behavior specialists explain that this is rarely true. Cats often separate tolerance, familiarity, and deep emotional attachment into completely different categories. A cat may feel comfortable around many humans while emotionally bonding at the deepest level with only one person. And the fascinating part is that they rarely choose that person for the reasons humans expect. It is not always the person who feeds them most. Not always the loudest person. Not even the person constantly trying to gain the cat's attention. Researchers who study feline attachment observed that cats usually form their strongest emotional bonds with the humans who make them feel emotionally safe and psychologically calm. Cats are extremely sensitive to energy, movement, tone of voice, emotional consistency, and predictable behavior. They silently study these patterns every single day. Over time, one person begins to feel different from everyone else. Safer, more predictable, more emotionally peaceful. And once this emotional preference forms, the cat's behavior quietly changes. That is when the cat starts choosing one specific lap over every other place in the house, one specific bedroom at night, one specific person to follow through the hallway, one specific presence to sleep beside during moments of vulnerability. Animal behavior experts explain that cats create emotional associations through repeated feelings of safety and trust. The human who consistently respects the cat's boundaries, moves calmly, speaks softly, and creates emotional stability often becomes the center of the cat's deepest attachment. And most of this happens silently, without dramatic moments, without obvious displays. That is why many people completely miss the signs. But once you notice them, they become impossible to ignore. The cat waits for one specific person to come home. The cat relaxes faster around one specific voice. The cat chooses one side of the bed every night. The cat enters certain rooms only when one specific human is inside. These are not random habits. Researchers explain that cats develop strong emotional memory connected to comfort and security. In the feline mind, repeated peaceful experiences slowly strengthen attachment over time. And unlike humans, cats rarely fake emotional trust. Their nervous system reacts honestly to who makes them feel safe. This is why a cat may accept affection from several people, but only become fully vulnerable around one. And perhaps the most emotional part of all is this. Many cats never verbally ask for love at all. They simply choose where they feel safest and stay there quietly. That quiet choice says everything. Because when a cat truly loves someone, it stops treating that person like part of the environment. The person becomes home. And once you understand that, many small moments suddenly feel completely different. The silent staring, the sleeping nearby, the following, the waiting at the door, the calm breathing beside you at night, none of it was meaningless. Your cat may have been expressing deep emotional attachment for years in the only language it naturally knows how to speak. And the truth is, most people never realize how much love their cat was giving them until they finally learn how to see it. Your cat may have been saying, "I love you" for years. Maybe your cat was never cold. Maybe your cat was never distant. Maybe the problem was simply that nobody ever taught you how feline love truly looks. Because cats were never designed to express emotion loudly, they do not always seek constant attention. They do not always need to be touched. and they rarely exaggerate what they feel. Specialists in feline behavior explain that cats communicate emotional attachment through trust, safety, routine, and vulnerability far more than through dramatic affection. That is why so many people spend years being loved deeply by a cat without fully realizing it. They mistake quietness for indifference. They mistake emotional control for distance. But researchers who study feline psychology observed something powerful. When cats truly trust someone, their entire behavior begins to soften in subtle ways. Their body relaxes differently, their routines change. Their instinct to stay constantly alert slowly fades around that person. And this may be one of the purest forms of trust an animal can give. Because a cat never abandons survival instinct carelessly, every moment of vulnerability means something. Every silent decision to stay near you means something. Every time your cat sleeps deeply beside you, follows you quietly through the house, waits outside the door, or simply chooses your presence over isolation, your cat is revealing emotional security in its own language. And perhaps that is what makes feline love feel so profound once you finally understand it. It is not loud, it is not desperate, it is chosen. Scientists observed that emotionally bonded cats often create invisible routines around the humans they trust most. They synchronize sleep patterns, monitor movement, seek proximity during quiet moments, and gradually associate that person with calmness and protection. Over time, the human becomes emotionally woven into the cat's sense of stability. That bond becomes incredibly deep. And unlike many forms of affection that seek constant validation, feline love often exists peacefully in silence. A cat lying near you while doing absolutely nothing may actually be expressing complete emotional comfort. A cat slowly blinking at you across the room may be showing trust. A cat sleeping with its back turned toward you may be demonstrating total security. These moments seem small to humans because humans often expect love to announce itself loudly. Cats do the opposite. They hide love inside ordinary moments, inside presence, inside vulnerability, inside trust. And perhaps the saddest part is that many cats spend their entire lives quietly loving their humans this way without ever being fully understood. But now you see it differently. Now you understand why your cat follows you without reason, why it chooses certain places near you, why it watches you silently, why it relaxes completely only around specific people. None of those moments were accidental. Your cat was speaking emotionally the entire time. And maybe, for years, your cat has already been saying, "I love you" in the most honest way it knows how. Not through noise, not through words, but through the one thing cats never offer lightly to anyone in this world: their vulnerability